Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the four-digit Mania World Cup 2024. 32 teams entered this tournament with hopes of winning the 40M title, and now there are only 3 remaining. In the winner's side, Vietnam stands alone, waiting to see who will come to try and challenge them for what they believe is rightfully theirs. Before you tonight are the 2 challengers. A top 3 position already secured, but aspirations for so much more. We have Taiwan taking on the United States to see who will be bestowed upon the honor of taking on Vietnam later on this weekend. Let's see how they do in this best of 13 showdown. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth this time around by none other than Dynascape. Dyna, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Sparky. Always excited to cast a match with you, and obviously really excited to cast United States versus Taiwan in Losers Grands. This is the first time that we've seen United States not even in a position just to be in the grand finals, but just to take it all since 2020. And of course, Taiwan, just a breakout performance. Their last, I guess their best performance before this was 13th place last year. So to get third or even second or even first is already crazy enough. So both these teams really like fielding some crazy players this year, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And while we're on that top, Sparky, what do you think is gonna happen in the match? Like, where do you think these teams want to go?
Oh god, it's a little too hard to call in this particular instance. It feels like these 2 countries have done a lot of adapting to what their opponents want to do to try and make it this far. As you mentioned, Taiwan, this is by far their best tournament run in the 4-digit Mania World Cup. So, I mean, for them, sky's the limit. They've been playing with house money for quite a while now. It feels like they're able to tackle any country on basically anything the map pool has thrown at them. And with the United States, it's like they've really carved out an identity for themselves as being this sort of flexible, majority rice-leaning team, but has the ability to stand toe-to-toe on LNs, take points when needed from there, able to play the hybrids, but really also just being able to shore up, being able to play the SVs as well in the map pools has really given them some real legs up against their opponents in certain situations. So I'm always hoping for a close match. It's always one of those things where I think us as bystanders always want things to go the distance, but really I just want these 2 teams to leave this match satisfied with their performance.
Yeah, definitely. I think already, both of these teams can really stand proud and say that they accomplished almost everything that they've wanted to accomplish outside of winning 40M. Both of these teams have been fighting so hard. I mean, just to get here, USA has had like toil and trouble pretty much throughout the bracket until they really found their sweet spot with Italy last week. We saw them sweep Italy off of their feet 7-0, just giving no breakpoints over, and that was the first sweep that we've seen since quarterfinals matches at 2, and to have it in something like losers finals is absolutely insane. And as for Taiwan, they put up a very decent fight against Vietnam, and just overall they've had a really good run throughout the entirety of the winners bracket, beating teams like the United Kingdom or Hong Kong or even C2 Malaysia pretty convincingly. So both of these teams just really kind of, I think, finding their sweet spot, like you said, and To get here, you have to be so well-rounded, and kind of where you were going with it. Taiwan is definitely a beast in any portion of the pool. They can do Rise, they can do LN, they can do SVA, but that's not to say that the US can't do the same. And I think that for the US, they'll definitely go with some of the more Rise-centric picks. However, I think Taiwan would need to find their sweet spot in some of the different LN categories and try to find out what the US is lacking with this increase in difficulty.
Yeah, I feel like both these countries have some questions to answer in terms of how well their compositions have scaled this far, because they were able to answer the question in finals, and find Taiwan, of course, losing to the winners grand finalist in Vietnam. I mean, that's definitely, if you're gonna lose, one step before grand finals isn't the worst spot to find your loss. But you have the United States also, who have shown moments here and there of maybe potentially having what we always like to refer to as third man syndrome, just finding that third player to round out compositions. But they were able to kind of put it together against Italy last week, and like you mentioned, the first sweep, I didn't even know that was a stat that we were keeping track of. And just things just clicked for them. It was crazy. So I'm not too sure how things are gonna go. Just thinking of all the variables that are going into this match, just the different scenarios these two countries have put themselves have been through basically throughout this tournament, adversity and being down and needing to make comebacks and finding breakpoints and ensuring that their picks are working out in their favor. I think the first map is going to tell us a lot about where this match is going to go. Like we always say, like middle of the match is always a crossroads, like point of no returns type of things. But that first map, depending on who wins it and by how much, is going to, I think, just set the tone for the rest of this match. If it's close, we go to tiebreaker. If it's like a 10, 20,000 point win, either direction, I'm not sure we're making it that far.
Yeah, and we always talk about like those coin flippy maps, and I think there are a decent amount of them in the pool. Not even just like in a specific part of the pool, but rather just in total. There's so many. I honestly, you could even count the SBs. I think last week United States and Taiwan had some pretty similar scores on, I believe, SB1, which was the only SB played. And so, Taiwan and the US definitely fielding some pretty good SB scores. It just has to see who's been grinding it out more. And I guess on the LNs, really that increase in difficulty, it's always like if you take one miss in some of these maps, you'll end up with a lot more than just one. And that can really just be a run ender, or you end up with not as good of a supporting score to the point where maybe you lost the point for your team. So consistency really is key. Maybe even you have to play the combo game in some of these maps, and we see Taiwan having an LN focused warm-up, so I do really feel like that is something that they're going to be going for. And the United States picked a Rice leaning warm-up, so Taiwan testing the United States consistency and coordination, whereas the United States really wants to challenge Taiwan's physicality and see if they've already reached the limit last week with some of the more physical picks, because we did see that Taiwan, I think in general, struggled a little bit more than the United States.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a bit of a game of cat and mouse with these two countries. I feel like if there's a break point going one way or the other, then the avenues of approach really do open up for the country that gets that breakpoint to kind of explore things they wouldn't have wanted to go for in their pick strategy. But more than likely, they'll both probably want to stick to their game plans because they have this feeling that they can kind of muscle it out on their respective side of the map pool. And who knows, maybe they both just handshake and we just stick to one end of it the entire match, run the whole gamut. And like we mentioned, some of these maps do feel kind of 50-50 between these two countries. Like, one person just needs to have a bad run or just find that rush of bad accuracy, those 200s, those 100s, and it just swings the other way by no real fault of anybody's own. It's just, as a team, the score wasn't high enough. So with the second warm-up out of the way, we can now get to the thing everybody's been waiting for, which is the rolls. Because, of course, the match doesn't matter. The rolls, always the best part of, of the match.
Gonna have to see who gets that beloved first pick and set the tone for the match. If I had to guess, Protects and bans Sparky.
Mm-hmm.
Probably for Protects, Taiwan. Maybe gonna go for something like Reconnect Lines. You know, a less physical map, something more attuned to density and release. And if you know you can win on LN1, something like LN2 looks like a really juicy pick later on. And then for United States, for a Protect, I would say if they've been practicing it, SV1 for sure. Because I know these teams, you know, really do not want to pick SV2. You know, most likely. Maybe someone can stun us here.
Yeah. No, it's definitely... I think you're on the right track here. I feel like the United States, the onus kind of falls on them to ensure their preferred SV pick gets through this process, because I wouldn't be surprised if Taiwan just remove whichever one survives, or if the United States leaves both open, one of the two becomes a target. And here comes the first roll. Looks like Taiwan rolls to 39. We'll see what the United States rolls here.
Yes, statistically, United States is slated to get a better roll, just because that's how probability works. But really, it's like a 50-50. Either
it's always 50-50.
or you don't, right?
Yes.
As for bans, I would say something like Taiwan just remove the most physical Rice pick out of the pool. So maybe something like Chuno Hazama, Rice 5. Maybe they're not feeling pure speed with Olympia, Rice 2. Those might be some really good picks to kind of take out the pool for United States. And as for the United States, I think they don't want to go for any coin flippy maps. So the first map that comes to mind for me is something like Hybrid 4, crazily enough, where it's again, in my opinion, it's like very RNG, and there's so many weird patterns and so many like shields, jacks with LN, stuff like that, where, you know, multiple people that might feel comfortable on the map for United States could take a miss at any point in. So I think that's something that they don't want to have in the pool for Taiwan to maybe pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good shout in terms of a good ban for the United States to go for. I would probably hedge my bets towards one of these LN picks, maybe something like LN6 getting removed. It's probably the most familiar to a lot of the players in this match, so bad habits do start to get formed, and the United States does win the roll as we were deliberating. And sure enough, SV1 is going to be the protect here for the United States, so chalk one up for us for calling that one. We'll see the rest of them kind of go up in flames now.
Yeah, 1 for 1's pretty good. We'll take it and run with it. Taiwan up to bat for their protects, and like I said, I think LN1 is a good idea for them. if they wanted a curveball, maybe Hybrid 3, something crazy. We all know how Hybrid 3 is gonna go, right?
Potentially. Yeah, they're really wanting to make sure they get this correct, because this could potentially set the tone for us in the match, could inadvertently give away information as to what they want to go for. And I mean, they do have options as to what they want to keep. It's going to be LN5, so Suizo going to stay in the pool here, so maybe not LN1, but still in that LN category, so partial credit for that one, as we wait for Taiwan to throw out their ban here.
Yeah, I mean, LN5 is a pretty good pick as well. I totally forgot about it, but yeah, it's pretty much essentially just like really dense release at all points in the map and super hard to act. So Taiwan just kind of going for that same game plan of testing United States on, I guess, easier to combo LNs and saying that we probably have the better accuracy, we want to go for this. It was pretty interesting that they wanted to discuss after the Protect, because you'd think in their minds that they've already had previously discussed it. So maybe Taiwan had wanted to protect SV1 beforehand. It's an interesting thought, but with this ban in hand, do they want to go for SV2 knowing that at least the United States is comfortable on SV1? Do they think they've also practiced SV2?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really interesting thing to think about. It's like, if they did have to discuss, was SV1 the protect for Taiwan? But no, after some deliberation here, Rice 4 actually going to be removed. I can agree with that. Just pinch the Rice pool a little bit more. If you know that you're comfortable on the SV picks as well, you can kind of take that gamble a little bit more confidently than some other teams. So, I mean, yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, and especially since I think historically in this tournament, United States has been really, really strong on the jump streamy type of map. So rather than striking out something that's just pure physicality, maybe for a short amount of time, Taiwan rather going for the route where they strike out the stamina-based Rice pick, because that ban from Taiwan is 3.5 minutes long of OD 8.5 jump stream. I'm not sure exactly what BPM it is, but I mean, just thinking about, you know, having to keep up accuracy and keep up appearances for so long on a map like that definitely is a good reason for Taiwan to pick it for their ban, and United States also discussing their ban. I called Hybrid 4. Right now, I'm not so sure. Could be totally anything else. What do you think, Sparky?
Like I said, I still think anything in this LN pool, barring LN5, is up for the chopping block. I'll hedge my bets towards LN6, but LN1, since it got actually Hybrid 4. So
take those.
Definitely take those. So calling the difficulty of that pick in particular being enough to warrant the ban, so leaving all 6 LNs untouched, well 5 because one wasn't allowed to be banned. But on the other side, on the flip side of that, the United States kind of has a dream scenario where they have both SV charts open to be chosen, at least until we get to the midway point of the match, depending on who reaches that threshold first. So we'll wait to see if SV2 is long for this world. But with that out of the way, the United States is up to pick the first map of this best of 13. Both these countries have no more lifelines. It is win or go home. And the winner will face Vietnam later this weekend to see who will be crowned champion of the 4-Digit Mania World Cup 2024. Dino, what do you think that first pick's going to be?
Oh boy, for the United States, they have a lot of decent picks. For me, I think possibly something like End of Fairy Tale, honestly, it should be pretty comfortable for the United States. I also think a map kind of like Hallucinatory Halo. But no, they're going to go for Olympia, the dedicated speed pick. And again, they're out of the gate just testing Taiwan on peak physicality, because Olympia is no slouch whatsoever. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens here, because I think in a perfect world, all three of the players, at least on the United States, can FC it, but can they FC it well, and can they get good accuracy? And as for Taiwan, I'm not sure how solid of a Rice team they are with this difficulty increase. I know that it's usually Diablo Rex, Shice, and Belos. However, I feel like in some moments and in some categories of Rice, Taiwan has struggled just a little bit, mainly looking at Diablo Rex for some of the scores. However, they should be able to put up a good fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I was alluding to at the start of the broadcast, I feel like this map is going to give us so much information as to the tone of the rest of this match, because if it's close, there's questions to be answered later on down the line. If it's a 5-digit win one way or the other, then we kind of need to start finding some answers. But with that being said, 6 players are ready. It is going to be Diablo Rex, Shice, and Veloz for Taiwan, Z2A, Charlie, and Tanels for the United States here as we get underway with Olympia.
And player to watch out for on Taiwan to get a really good score has historically been Veloz, usually being able to match up most Rice players, probably one of the best Rice accuracy players in the tournament as a whole. And for now, in this very, very tame intro, we do have Taiwan with just the slightest bit of an MA difference. However, Shice is going to take a drop in C2A as well. What an interesting start to go off of. So 2 FCs on the board for Taiwan and US. That score is flickering.
Yeah, it's because of the fact that the 4 remaining FCs are all within 0.1% of each other in terms of accuracy. And right now, the battle really does boil down to Shice and Z2A as they make their recovery runs both back up over that 400 combo cap. So Gooden starts to be able to contribute fully to their squads. But right now, we see Charlie starting to pull ahead here a little bit. 99.8 for them as Diablo Rex starts to take a bit of an accuracy drop, still holding on to the FC, but down into the low 99% range, and now the lead is starting to balloon for the United States. 10,000 points as we make our way into the back half of the chart now.
Super interesting to think about that. US has a very strong 10k point lead. Diablo Rex and Z2A gonna trade out misses, and Z2A yet again, so only FC left on board for Taiwan is below. So it seems like Diablo Rex cannot keep up with the speed, and just the stamina is running out. Z2A takes yet a 3rd miss, so things are going to slightly slow down in terms of a lead for United States, but Charlie and Tonels just really holding it down for the US right now. And not only that, able to match blows and more. Diablo Rex taking yet another miss. Their accuracy is under 99%, and things are in dire straits for Taiwan.
Yeah, these trades have been working out fully in favor for the United States. Every time that Z2A answered back one of those misses, it's the fact that Taiwan was answering those misses with 2 of their own, and Veloz falls as well. All 3 FCs now gone for Taiwan. The only person above that 400 combo cap is Diablo Rex, as Shice also falls, and now it's a full combo reset. Z2A still the only person to find a miss for the United States. It is a 2-man tandem between Charlie and Tanels as they make it a 71,000 point win to take their first map in very convincing fashion to make it 0-1.
And what an Olympian performance by Charlie on that map. 988 with pretty clean accuracy overall. Charlie and Tonels, of course, that dastardly duo absolutely owning on Rice at all points of the bracket stage, and Z2A always providing such a good supporting score, able to beat Diablo Rex by a very fair margin. So again, we kind of see that 3rd man syndrome pop up, but then again, this is speed, so maybe, you know, Taiwan isn't really good at that Rice skill set too much. We'll have to see later on, but it seems like for now, United States just has that grasp on the Rice pool. So now with that being said, where does Taiwan want to go? What kind of LN pick do they want to go for first? Because we know that they already protected LN5, which was very densey, very releasey. So something like LN1 and 2 are also good picks because there's just a lot of release elements involved. Just hard to say. And of course, actually, just to mention, SB2 has been left wide open from both teams, which is really crazy to think about. It's been a long time since we've seen both SV picks up.
Yeah, there are definitely still some avenues for Taiwan for their first pick. And I mean, to be fair, I don't think there was a world in which Taiwan would have ever willingly gone into something like Olympia. So can't really sweat it too hard in terms of that score. It's kind of one of those, like, you kind of have to take them as they come because your opponent is allowed to make picks. So there's definitely going to be pain points for both of these countries as we make our way further into this match. And with Taiwan up to pick, they are going to go for LN1 here. So we're going to see the more LN-oriented rosters make their appearance for both countries. And now we'll see if Taiwan can answer back with an equally as convincing performance to match what the United States was able to throw out for their first pick here.
And a great pick at that. I think this is a very, very good map for Taiwan to test the waters in LN. Reconnect lines is not that fast. It's about 203 BPM as you can see. However, the main bulk of the difficulty for LNs is going to be like that density with releases involved. And the reason why it's so good is because if Taiwan can win this point, they can branch out into LN2 and also LN5 really safely because it's just about the same thing. LN2 is a bit faster, less dense, but the BPM is increased by a lot. It's just we'll have to see how Taiwan does because I think with Hansen, Scheisse, and Veloz, they have a really good LN squad overall. They're very, very close to each other in terms of skill on LNs. Is that enough to match up to Tonal's Charlie and Sky? We'll have to see.
Yeah, we can already see just a precursor of what is to come in this particular chart. We see a lot of disjointed starts and stops, some reverse shields, some shield patterning as well to kick this map off. And it's one of the longer ones in this pool. 2 minutes 45 seconds is definitely quite a bit of a consistency test, especially on LN, just making sure those releases are kept in line. But for right now, the United States actually pulling away in terms of accuracy just for the moment. Hansen having a little bit of a struggle down below the 99% mark in comparison to everybody else in this lobby. Next closest person would be Sky, but right now, Charlie and Antonell is doing everything in their power to ensure that they can back up their teammate as Veloz actually finds the first drop for Taiwan. And this is the opening the United States needed to start building on his lead as Hansen falls as well.
Pretty rough start for Taiwan. And you know, on the side of the United States, yes, Sky has the lowest accuracy, but that guy can combo like no other. It's gonna be super tough. So many patterns are gonna be needed for Sky to even think about dropping a note, and Tunnels Charlie providing such good scores. Scheisse is doing their best to try to keep up with Hansen dropping yet again. That lead is 20,000 points, and as we all know, 20,000 points is a large amount. This is not a very physical pick. This is not a very hard pick, I'd even say. So with this back half already starting to go, United States really is just in such a good position to win this map.
Yeah, we say hard pick in the context of this map pool because these guys do a magnificent job of making these things look a lot easier than they appear. As we work our way into the last quarter of the chart, it is more of the same. The United States adding about 4,000 points to that 20,000 point buffer that they had already built up. Hansen not really able to rebuild on the accuracy losses that they found after their first couple of drops. Veloz still in the mid-99s, but Scheisse doing everything in their power to try and keep this close, but the United States not relenting at all as we see 2 more drops and a triple drop from the United States, almost in perfect sync to reset the combos on their side. But with only an eighth of the chart left to go, it puts but a tiny dent as Scheisse, the last remaining FC, falls, and it helps restore the advantage that the United States had on this first Taiwanese pick. And Dyna, oh boy, there's going to be some questions to answer once this pick is done. 30,000 points to margin of victory. The United States takes the first break point to make it 2-0.
Super scary score by United States. Again, just strong arming their way into victory. Tunnels and Charlie putting up very impressive scores. To be able to get 99.5s on grand final maps in general is so good, and but to have two players do it and have Sky be able to combo for a large amount of the map, that's super scary to think about. Um, yeah, United States just a very consistent team it seems, and Taiwan, like you said, gonna have some questions to answer. Where are they gonna go next for their pick? Because that one didn't turn out so well. Luckily, they have a bit of time to ponder that question as United States, again, is up to pick. They did really good on Olympia, very speedy focus. So what kind of map does United States want to go for next?
This is one of those opportunities that we like to talk about where a country gets that first break point and a whole world of opportunity kind of opens up for them in terms of, okay, we can kind of deviate from the script a little bit in terms of what we wanted to go for. And this is about as big a deviation as you can get. It is going to be Taiwan's Protect LN5, but not picked by Taiwan. It's going to be picked by the United States.
Probably the biggest script flip I've seen in quite a while. Even Sky saying, and Tunnel's being like, what? The United States didn't even seem prepared for this pick with Ren team captain.
It's like I'm pretty sure Sky was already kind of like getting ready. It's like, okay, we're gonna go into a rice pick, bye guys. But then seeing LN5, it's like, oh wait, I have to stay in. It's like I mentioned, it's a luxury you are afforded when you do get those breakpoints where you can venture away from what you were wanting to go into. And if the United States does capitalize on that breakpoint and wins this pick, all it does is just throw the biggest monkey wrench into the game plan for Taiwan, because if it doesn't go their way, if they don't get this breakpoint back, that Protect is gone now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, US probably, I mean, just in general, going for that mental damage to pick your opponent's Protect is always such a power move. And so the United States is going to have to really follow through with it, or else they'll look quite silly if they end up losing this. Thankfully, they do have a lot of points to play with, but with Shice taking that first drop early on, it's going to be really tough. And it seems like there's just an inherent accuracy disadvantage for Taiwan as well, with Hansen having an FC, but it's at a 98 and dropping. Just a lot of early grades being thrown down with all of the releases presented, and Veloz not able to stand up to the United States' best player of Charlie. Total's finally dropping, but that's not going to be much.
Yeah, just the discrepancies between these two countries at the moment. Sky falls as well, so 1 FC for the United States, 2 for Taiwan to work with, but it's basically been the tale of this match so far. Just accuracy prevailing at the end of the day. Taiwan not being in a position to capitalize when the United States does find these drops. We're already into the back half of the chart now, and it's still 22,000 points as Veloz and Shice fall at almost the exact same time. Shice picking up an extra one for the road here, and that's going to help double effectively this lead for the United States as we make our way into the last quarter of the map.
Hansen honestly looking like a mini Sky here with a sub 98 FC. Super crazy to think about. One of the only 2 FCs on the board, yet also unfortunately the lowest score in match currently. And as they drop, it just feels like it is over. There's not too much difficulty left in this map. It's pretty much the same thing as the start. Tunnels is going to drop. Charlie going to try to keep up that FC for the rest of the map, but the damage has been dealt. And 60,000 points for the US. Yet another convincing victory for them. And the mental damage has been dealt. I mean, what does Taiwan do when United States picks your Protect and then ends up winning by a very comfortable margin? Where do they go?
I feel like this is a break in case of emergency situation. And SV2? SV1 maybe? For trying to answer back. The Protect is gone for Taiwan. And another point goes to the United States, it's 3-0. If a fourth one comes their way, at least Taiwan has the cushion of another ban, but losing 2 LN picks now, what do you remove from the map pool at this point? Because the United States is looking like they can play anything at the moment.
Yeah, it's such a hard question to answer. And I mean, United States just getting that momentum off super early, along with that really crazy breakpoint, or not breakpoint, but rather protect win. So many questions for Taiwan, and I think that they might have to retreat to either a hybrid map, or they could pick Slaughter, or if they really wanted to, they'd have to go into one of the SPs. So one of those 3 options, which one they're most comfortable with, I don't know, but I still think that this match is very much salvageable for Taiwan.
Oh, absolutely. Taiwan are in no way, shape, or form out of this just yet, but it goes without saying they are probably reeling right now in terms of how they expected this match to start off. But, I mean, you said it, Slaughter seems like a pretty good pick if SV wasn't on the table. It's arguably one of the harder LM picks in this pool, and the fact that it's on a 1.1x rate just makes it all that more unbearable because of the fact that stylistically this is really hard to maintain good accuracy on without sacrificing something.
Exactly. And with the United States banning Hybrid 4, it does definitely come into mind that the United States isn't super comfortable on stuff like Jack shields or like quick switches on maps at this level, and that is something that Slaughter has all of. Fortunately for Taiwan, there's just so many Jacks that you can choke on and so many one-handed trills as well that I can definitely see Taiwan having some pretty good runs, because in general I think consistency wise they've been around the same as the United States. It's just that accuracy is really the difference. So Taiwan might be on the back foot is what a lot of people are thinking, but it's still very much a chance where Taiwan can pull off some really good combo runs, and then some people on the United States can choke and would end up with a Taiwan victory.
For sure, and an adaptation as well. Hansen subbing out for Diablo Rex for this LN pick, so definitely Taiwan trying to adapt to the situation, seeing if this combination with Shice and Veloz being the main 2 can offer some rewards. And right now, through this introduction, 2,000 points in their favor. Not the largest of margins, but a margin nonetheless, and they can start to build on this as we make our way further and further into this chart, because it is just relentless in terms of what it's asking you. But Shice and Diablo finding the simultaneous drops into this next section, almost a pseudo-inverse section, a lot of bursts running through, and everybody on the United States survives through it as they now take over the lead going into the second third.
And that was so important for Taiwan to keep combo, because as you can see from the accuracies, Veloz was able to match Tonels for the most part. Shice is able to match Charlie, and Diablo Rex is absolutely steamrolling Sky in terms of accuracy. So if this game had everyone at an FC level, then Taiwan pretty much would have been in the lead. And as we get into this very awkward section, Tonels is going to find a drop, so that lead finally switching back over to Taiwan, and with a lot of force behind it, 2,000 points.
Yeah, for sure. Tonel's losing a full 0.2% with that drop. Another one to boot, and that's going to help triple the advantage for Taiwan. Sky falls as well, and now we see the fruits of their labor. Taiwan starting to eke out the advantage as we make our way into this final 8th of the chart. Diablo finds another drop, but Tonels and Charlie are starting to find the misses as well. There are no FCs. There is no significant combo for the United States, and I feel like after 3 maps, the 4th one finally pays off, and Taiwan is on pace to notch their first point on the board. A couple drops for the road here from Veloz, but again, a 38,000 point win to answer back what was a very strong start from the United States, and it is now 1-3 here.
Great scores from Taiwan. That's exactly what I was talking about. Exactly what was needed. Some very high combo games, and that's exactly what happened. Shice and Veloz really providing some crazy combos for the basically 3/4 of the map, able to eke out Charlie, able to eke out Tunnels, and Diablo Rex securing even that small victory over Sky means that Taiwan just did really well on that map. And I think a lot of the misses from the United States really came during those one-handed trills, not even the jacks, but rather just kind of like that one-hand coordination. And it just seems like that was like the perfect pick for Taiwan. And you know, with them not being able to be swept anymore, some confidence should be instilled into them. Yeah, they don't have the pick right now, but that means that they can provide better scores and have a better mindset going into the rest of this match.
Oh, absolutely. This was the perfect pick at the perfect time for Taiwan to really just kind of settle the nerves a little bit, convince themselves like, hey, we are here for a reason. We are able to put up these disgusting team scores that can rival literally anybody in this tournament. And that was a textbook example of what we were kind of expecting this match to kind of be, where the United States looks convincing on the rise and Taiwan shows that they can go up against the United States on the LNs. But the United States now sensing that they have a bit of an advantage on these less physically demanding LN picks, Slaughter notwithstanding, that one was probably the outlier, which was, again, as you alluded to, why they banned out Hybrid 4. You continue to pinch this LN pool because you're not really forced to go into those rice picks yet. You can keep those in the back pocket, wear out the LN pool, and start making Taiwan play your game later on down the match.
Yeah, I think United States is kind of like herding Taiwan into, you know, weaning out the pool where United States can close out really well and have a lot of comfortable rice picks as, you know, United States gets closer to the match point. But I mean, this pick is really interesting, my darling. This is what many would consider to be the coordination pick of the pool, and with the United States not performing up to standards on Slaughter, it really begs the question, was this a good pick for United States? Because Taiwan has shown that they're very good at coordination.
Maybe it being a little bit lower BPM kind of lends them back into the fold. Shice finding a pretty uncharacteristic drop very early on, maybe just needing to settle into the groove, maybe overthinking one of those releases as we make our way through this. But Hanson also kind of lagging behind, 97%, 98%. Not the strongest start for Taiwan. Maybe the United States sensing something that we're not recognizing, because right now 11,000 points through this introduction is a pretty healthy lead to start off with, even with Sky finding the first drop for the United States here.
Yeah, even with Sky taking a drop, the third man difference in accuracy is so high that it doesn't really matter if Sky takes a singular dirty drop or Tonal takes a singular dirty drop. A chain miss is really what's needed, because yeah, that miss is going to start to maybe wean things over towards Taiwan, but you know, you are going to need a lot more than just one segmented miss. And I mean, Taiwan has done good to keep combo Veloz with, I believe, the only high FC on the board in this match, but it's just not enough yet.
Oh, that one might do some significant damage though. Charlie finding the drop, not answered back by anybody from Taiwan. They were kind of keeping Veloz in check, but now Veloz kind of free to run rampant on trying to claw this lead back. But with Hanson finding another drop, they were able to get back up into that 98% range, but that accuracy discrepancy begins to rear its ugly head once again. Sky is still a full percent ahead of them and basically negating any potential comebacks from this Taiwanese roster. Tunnels finds a drop though going into the last quarter, and once again not answered back by anybody on Taiwan, and this lead has been shifting for the United States. It looks like it kind of settles down at that 11,000 point range, but then somebody finds a drop and it loses about 3,000 to 4,000 points, and those are the windows of opportunity for Taiwan to really strike. But as you mentioned, it's going to take a chain miss from the United States, even three players finding a drop to just swing this back over to the red side. There's still an 8th in the chart left to go. Hansen finds another drop, and that might be the final nail in the coffin here for this pick. The United States now 19,000 points, clearly in the driver's seat through this outro.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of scary drops through and throughout this map for United States. I think, again, United States having trouble with some of these more coordination-focused sections. However, the combo game wasn't enough this time, and even with Shice and even with Veloz having those crazy good scores, almost a double FC from Taiwan, it just was not enough, and that's really just because of Hansen versus Guy, a 30,000 point difference between them, and so it's looking like Taiwan is gonna have their second ban. What do they want to go for?
I feel like they can take this opportunity to start kind of pinching the rice pool in return. Because the United States, I feel like their intentions have been clear since they've gotten that first breakpoint, that whatever, maybe this was their original strategy, maybe go into the LNs, but I don't think in a normal circumstance where, say, the United States wins Rice 2 and then Taiwan wins LN 1 and we continue down this path of Rice versus LN dichotomy, there's a lot of question marks now. Like the pond is murky in terms of what the clear avenue forward for Taiwan would be for this ban, because in a perfect world, in a world where everything went according to plan and according to the quote-unquote script that we like to theoretically follow, I feel like we'd have a Rice ban just in a heartbeat. Like Shuno Hazama gone, or Hallucinatory Halo gone. But do you get rid of one of these LN charts now just to avoid giving the United States more to work with?
Yeah, definitely a shadowy path ahead of Taiwan, but it's better to light a candle than to curse the dark. They're gonna have to try their best to really navigate their way through the rest of the match, because the United States already at 4 points, 3 points away from taking the set, and Taiwan hasn't really gotten their foot on the pedal really yet in this match. So I don't think they can really go for SV as a ban, or SV2 as a ban. They really do have to maybe pick it at some point if they get points in other areas. But I like the point that you made where maybe they actually want to go for a comfortable rise, or maybe they want to go for something that's very not physical in the hybrid section, but they are going to ban Rice 5 Shuno Hazama. So still not sticking really with the Rice. It just seems like they aren't confident at all. But with this next pick, they still have a lot to think about. They need to find a map that suits them better than the United States, and they found that with Slaughter, but where else do you go?
Yeah, in a perfect world, Hybrid 4 might be the next best option, but they can't go that way. It's been banned. This feels like an opportunity to go all in and do something like SV2. Like, I think we talked about this last weekend with the United States versus Italy, and we can put that conversation to the wayside. Taiwan is going to go for LN3 here.
Okay, so still sticking with LNs. This isn't their final pick yet, so even if Taiwan does lose this point, they still have another to play with. This map, pretty interesting. It's definitely very techy, so in that sense, I guess, you know, Taiwan can still play their really good combo game. The question really is that enough to beat United States and the devastating accuracy lead that they've had so far in a lot of these LN categories?
Yeah, I feel like this map might present some opportunities, similar to how Slaughter did, if the patterns get intricate enough, like if there's enough, I guess tech, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
To throw off the United States, similar to how we saw in Slaughter. If like there's those one-handed trills, or if there's enough reverse shield transitions in and out of some of the denser LN sections. They can eke out the point that they want. So really, this is potentially one of Taiwan's last opportunities to kind of stake a claim in this match to ensure that they can continue it on their own terms. Because if the United States gets this, then both SV picks are open, and right now not a strong start for the Taiwanese. Shice and Diablo Rex both finding very early drops as all three United States players hold on to their FCs and cross that 400 combo cap.
Super rough start from Taiwan yet again. It's called susceptible because you are very susceptible to taking misses in Shice and Diablo Rex, showing that early on. There's a lot of tight gaps, a lot of weird staggered heads, and Tunnel's breaking is just not going to be enough for Taiwan to take the lead just yet. I think the damage has been mitigated by just a bit, especially with Charlie dropping as well. It seems like things are going slightly in favor for Taiwan as the map goes on more and more. However, anything can happen in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Tunnel's finding yet another drop, not answered back once again by Taiwan, and really the standout performance, as I say that, Veloz was hanging on to the highest accuracy, but that inner column trill really doing some damage as Diablo Rex able to hold on to their combo, but also taking quite a significant chunk of damage down into that low 98% range as Sky loses their FC here. So only Veloz hanging on to the FC, but they have two massive supporting combos from Diablo Rex and Shice as the United States trying to hang on to this lead going into the second third here.
Yeah, a lot of very speedy sections, a lot of flams, a lot of patterns thrown at you, and Veloz is going to take yet another drop, so it seems like United States has a grasp on it as we go into this back half. However, I do think that still points can be made for Taiwan. Veloz getting back up to combo cap definitely helps things just a little bit, and Shice has been holding good combo for a lot of the map. We just really need anyone from the United States to drop, maybe even a double drop for things to go back over.
Yeah, for sure. This lead is teetering on a knife's edge. It is not safe by any stretch of the imagination, as there is still a quarter of the map left to go. And Tunnels finds yet another drop down below the 99% mark, but it's answered back by Diablo Rex on the transition out of that section. So a little bit of a reprieve for the United States, but Taiwan is chomping at the heels of this lead, shrunken down to 2,000 points as Tunnels and Diablo Rex try to make it back up over that 400 combo cap. The supporting accuracy from their teammates is going to need to see them through as they trade once again here. It's 1,300 points now, the difference between these two countries going into the ending.
Absolutely neck and neck, and what a battle Tunnels and Diablo Rex have been having. And now with things flickering, really, Veloz does not need a drop.
Oh,
everyone dropped. Diablo Rex, Charlie, Veloz all taking misses. The things favor the United States just a little bit. Shice needs to hold on to combo, and someone else from the United States needs to drop. Sky, can they be that person for Taiwan to swing things over? And as the map closes out, it does not seem so. Veloz is gonna drop, Charlie's gonna drop, Diablo Rex yet again, and at the end of the map, United States is gonna take it. It was very close, about 4,000 points, but just those drops from Veloz and Diablo Rex at the end having a bit more impact than Charlie's and Tunnel's really sealed the deal.
That is a massive hammer blow to the hopes of Taiwan. They had it in their hands. They were desperately clawing back that deficit. It was swinging at points towards the end of that chart. But at the end of the day, the composure from both these countries' third players, Sky and Shice, really doing the dirty work, hanging on as best as they both could. But at the end of the day, the United States able to pull it out by the tiniest of margins, one of the narrowest wins for a breakpoint we have seen in this match. But it is still a breakpoint nonetheless. United States up to pick. They are going to go for Rice 1.
Very good pick from the United States, still keeping SV in the pocket. You know that Basil and Redna are probably grinding it out as we speak, making sure everything's in order. So for the United States to still have a lot of picks intact and be able to keep it is a very good boon. Taiwan gonna have to do their best on this mixed rice pick, and there's only about a minute and a half to really make any moves. So Shice, Veloz, and I believe Diablo Rex are gonna be the players for Taiwan, and seems like Basil is gonna make their appearance actually on this map.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it last week as well, but Basil, kind of like the unsung hero for the United States, just that constant fourth player off the bench for a lot of these maps where if somebody else isn't feeling it at that moment, she can just sub in, basically lock in, and ensure that they have a solid foundation to work off of. And because of the fact that they have so many breakpoints in the back pocket, you can kind of afford to give your teammates a bit of a break. I mean, we've had Sky in for a lot of these LN picks. We've had Tanels in for basically everything alongside with Charlie's. So, again, luxuries being afforded for the United States based off the work that they did earlier in this match. And now, on what could potentially be one of the riskier picks they could go for, still enjoy the pick in general for the United States. It definitely plays into their wheelhouse, but on a map that's less than a minute and a half, a lot of things can go wrong very quickly.
Yeah, you need to keep your consistency. And 100%, if you're picking this map, you need to make sure that all three of your players can comfortably, if not FC, provide very good combos and understand the patterns presented, because there are a lot of very tricky patterns in this map. So we're gonna have to see how the United States fare on this one, as it is their pick. In Taiwan, really, they've had some moments in a couple of the, Rice maps. Maybe not in Olympia in the back half, but definitely, I think that they can maybe swing something in the mixed rice department.
Absolutely, especially with a map this short. They just need to hang on that little bit longer than the United States if things really start to get down and dirty. And Z-Way finding the first drop as these single node streams start to rain down, not answered back by the Taiwanese. And like I said, very risky going into a pick like this if you're not going to be able to hold on to the FC. A second miss, not answered back, and now the lead spiraling a little bit out of control in favor of Taiwan. 20,000 points going into the back half of the chart now.
Really, that Achilles heel for Z2A, just showing up yet again. Able to usually provide a very good score, but unfortunately takes a lot of misses in some of these moments. And with the third one, only traded by one for Diablo Rex, it seems like Taiwan has a very, very good chance at taking this point. And honestly, I didn't really want to say at the start, but I thought that this map was very shaky for United States. You're the better Rice team. You're so physical and have players that can really shine. Basil and Diablo Rex gonna take yet another trade, but it's not gonna do anything for the United States. Taiwan is gonna clean up this pick very comfortably. And
no! Oh, you were calling it right there at the end. Oh no! A last-second disaster for Taiwan. Veloz and Diablo, we were already singing the praises. Dinah, this is why we do not sing our praises until the map is done.
Those ending jacks caught out Veloz and Diablo Rex. I don't know if they weren't prepared or what, but I mean, just a slew of bad judgments from two players at the end. United States squeezing water from a stone and getting to match point. What happened?
I genuinely don't know. That happened so quickly, and it's that double-edged sword where you go into these short maps, you establish that lead, and I didn't want to say it with 20,000 points of a margin, but when you don't have the buffer of an additional minute or 30 seconds, those leads can really slip away from you if you just find too many at one time. And I'm right there with you, Dinah. I thought that map was done and dusted. I was about to join you in saying, like, this is This was the map that
Oh,
Taiwan
man.
needed, but no, the United States at the 11th hour, despite everything that was happening in that first 95% of the chart, managed to take Margarita Fire. And it's match point United States. It's 6-1 now.
Taiwan does not have a moment to think about it. They just need to focus on the future for now because their protect is off of the board. They've already had their second ban. There's only one more potential pick for them. This could be their last one, and they're gonna bite the bullet and go for Rice 6, interestingly enough.
I'm not sure. I am shell shocked by Rice 1, how that map ended. That I don't like this pick, bluntly enough. But with the way the LNs have gone, I feel like that would have probably been like a slow burn to fade out, potentially, for Taiwan. This feels kind of like a it's a rebellious pick.
Definitely rebellious is a very good word for it. You don't really expect Taiwan to kind of pick into the Rice pool, but I mean, when US has been so dominant in the LN section on every map except for Slaughter, and honestly, some of the hybrids are very, very shaky in terms of what they offer for Taiwan. It seems like, you know, Taiwan just kind of has to go for a Rice pick that isn't super comfortable, but still has like some LNs presented where maybe they can take something from the United States. The BPM is 275, and that's mostly kind of not super dense jump stream, and sometimes they're also presented in like LN patterns as well. But I do think that Taiwan can probably pull off a triple FC if they were to play at their peak. And again, the onus kind of, you know, is on Taiwan for something to happen, because it's match point. You have Basil, Z2A, and Charlie up. You probably have them in the back burner practicing SVU. You have to make something happen here and now.
Absolutely. They need Margarita to happen again without the ending, basically. And right now, a very strong start for Taiwan, at least in the context of how these Rice charts have been going. 2,500 points, the advantage for them to work with. I imagine 99.7 is going to be the bar as Shies finds the first drop, not answered back by the United States. And with the amount of consistency the United States can show on these Rice picks, it's gonna quickly become a mountain if they aren't too careful. It's already 5,000 points as Z2 and Shies trade once again, but that's a trade that you're willing to take if you're Taiwan. If anyone was to drop, it's better Shies than either of their FCs, because those are precious resources for them now as we continue on into the next third of the chart.
Oh yeah, that trade for Shies and Z2 definitely favors the United States just a little bit, and with Veloz dropping and Diablo Rex having the only FC left on the board for Taiwan, something needs to happen to Charlie or something needs to happen to Basil, but it seems like they're so comfortable on this map. Z2A gonna actually take a chain miss, a couple to go with it, and Taiwan maybe making back that lead by just a little bit. Z2A dropping yet again, so finally that lead goes back to Taiwan, and in crazy fashion as well. 6,000 points, Diablo Rex dropping. There's only a third of the map left. They just need to hold.
Oh, now they're probably wishing that this map was 30 seconds shorter. This is the advantage that they needed. It's 4,000 points. The United States has the accuracy, but Diablo Rex finds the miss, and the lead swings back in favor of the United States. A quarter of the map left to go. A quarter of the map remaining for Taiwan to do something about it, but Diablo Rex not able to find their footing once again as the United States begins to make this a tiny bit of a runaway. I am not going to call it just yet, but an 8,000 point lead at this point with Z2A finding their drop. That lead shrinks and Taiwan takes advantage once again with the landing burst coming through. Is there enough time for them to try and wrestle this back? There's another couple of misses, but it is not going to be enough. The United States once again doing just enough at the end of the chart. The supporting cast of Basil and Charlie, too much for Shice and Veloz to overcome, and they punched their ticket into the grand finals by a score of 7-1.
Dominant performance from United States yet again warrants out for their arrest because highway robbery has been committed again. Yet another victory in the last moments of the map. And wow, just to think that United States to be able to win in such dominant fashion and punch their way into grand finals for the first time since 2020, Vietnam has to be scared. It's the grand finals. The altitude is different and you've got to catch your win. And for United States, they glided past Taiwan and absolutely dominated in every sense of the word.
Absolutely. And the scary thing is, they did not have to pick either of the SV charts to do it. No. Those scores stay hidden from Vietnam. They have no intel to work with going into that match. And that match is going to take place at 15 UTC tomorrow, Sunday, February 25th. The final match, or matches, of the 4-digit Mania World Cup is going to take place. Congratulations to Taiwan for finishing in 3rd place. A miraculous run for them, a standout team in this edition of the 4-digit Mania World Cup. I did not foresee them being or making it this far given their past tournament experiences. But seeding 3rd and finishing 3rd, they have a lot to be proud of.
100%. So, with that all being said, we're gonna have to end it here. US up to face Vietnam tomorrow at 15 UTC, and my golly, you do not want to miss it because, Sparky, I think both of us can very confidently say we do not know who's gonna win that matchup.
Oh, absolutely. That we have loved saying things are 50-50. I do not think it gets any more 50-50 than that match. So, until then, I think there is a lot of time between then and now. Hopefully, you all enjoy the middle portion of your weekend, and we'll catch you guys later. Take care, y'all.